Hey guys, this is a tarot reading for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant for the month of January 2019. And I'm using the Gemini Astrological Tarot spread as I have for all my other videos. I have a video on that spread. If you're not familiar with it, you can check that out. But your Ascendant is going to be here. The upside down Two of Swords is going to be for Scorpio. And let's do a brief overview of the spread before we start interpreting it card by card. So first off, we have 1, 2, 3 major arcana. So nothing super big happening for you this month in terms of sort of like major life events or processes or things like that. Nothing like super, super huge per se. Next we have one swords card. Okay. See pentacles. We've got 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3 pentacles. Wands, we've got 1, 2, 3. We've got 3 wands cards. Okay. So 3 pentacles and 3 wands so far. And then last but not least, cups. We've got 1, 2. So we've got 2 cups cards. Oh, no, sorry, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay. So, wow, we've got kind of an even mixture here of swords, wands, and cups, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I'm sorry. No, not swords. Pentacles, wands, and cups. Swords being the least amount. So, not necessarily a whole lot of objectivity or super refined pursuits and themes this month either. That's okay, of course. Every month, every year is going to be different, and so on. But you do have the Emperor as the 13th card. So right off the bat, you're really empowered this month to basically do whatever you want, in a sense. Now, this is a double-edged sword because the Emperor is a card of tremendous willpower, and so he can do whatever he wants, in a sense, but it's his task to govern things wisely and firmly and dispassionately, objectively, doing things because it's the right thing to do. But he can theoretically do whatever he wants. So that's kind of a major theme for you this month. You're sitting on the throne for whatever reason. Another possibility, too, is it could represent that your father is a father figure or that kind of a thing, or a feeling of needing to fulfill some kind of obligation is kind of lurking below the surface for you. But I'm gonna go with the first one more or less. I think that's kind of what's speaking to me. This being empowered, being tremendously empowered. So that's kind of an interesting theme there. Okay, let's start with your Ascendant then. Now, Two of Swords. Two of Swords, interesting, reversed, right? Aspected by Ace of Wands, 6 of Cups, and 7 of Cups. So 6 and 7 of Cups. That's interesting. So to me, that would represent kind of the two paths you're trying to take, or influences in 2 different directions. Now, perhaps the 2 paths are actually just the 12th house and the 2nd house to the card, right? So we do have a sense of like hard work and determination, really working to gather whatever you need, versus kind of just the Magician kind of just screwing around and not necessarily being totally responsible, in my opinion. The Magician in the 12th house is definitely like the irresponsible use of one's time and energy for sort of questionable pursuits. It can definitely signify black magic, absolutely. It can signify it kind of reminds me of like Aleister Crowley or something like that, or how a lot of people who think they're sorcerers and magicians and stuff in this day and age, they kind of have this vibe. And this is actually like a very Crowley-esque vibe, the Magician in the 12th. So, you might want to read a little bit about Crowley, but he was a powerful, magic practitioner, but he didn't he didn't really use his magic for the highest good. He used it mostly for selfish gain. So there's kind of these two paths here. Do I actually, do the hard work I know I need to do and be responsible, or do I, kind of just screw around and do whatever I want? And we've got the Six of Cups aspecting, I think, kind of pushing you in the direction of the Seven of Pentacles, meaning that, like, taking care of others and being courteous and noble and, helping out your community or your family in whatever capacity. There's sort of this desire for things to be nice and good and happy, right? But the only way that's going to happen is if you do this hard work. Whereas on the other hand, there's like this sort of illusory pull toward like power and control and like worldly things and, pleasures and things like that, getting all these things for yourself. And that's more the path of the magician, I think, in this particular spread. So you're kind of divided between these two paths. And remember, I said the emperor can do whatever he wants, right? So you can go toward either path with powerful results for each. But the thing is that, like I said, the emperor has to do what's right. Otherwise, his own power will betray him. And just like with not taking care of our responsibilities and leaving things to kind of fester and rot or whatever, because we want to pursue, whatever it is we want to pursue just for our own benefit, right? Or we want to just kind of screw around and not get to work. That's going to lead to a betrayal of one's own power, so to speak. It's going to be the, the sting of the scorpion, or the, the serpent wrapping around and biting the hand that has grabbed it. It's that kind of a deal. So the wise use of power is probably the theme for you this month, for this spread, and so on. The Ace of Wands aspecting is interesting because it does show, in general, new creative potentials. It always shows that. So there is kind of, in a sense, maybe it's a third path. It could suggest a third path, and that path is sort of like the mastery of one's own will, rather than kind of the duality of like work and play, mastering one's own will and deciding where one wants to go next. And there's kind of a battle involved with that. There will be, if that's the path one decides to take, there will be kind of a need to fight off negative influences. And in fact, this is the fourth house for you, which is your private life, your peace of mind. And it's not very peaceful, right? It's definitely somebody trying to fend off or ward off contrary influences or attackers or something like that. So there's kind of a struggle involved for you, not a lot of peace of mind this month, really, in and of itself, if that makes sense. In the ninth house here from Scorpio, we also have the Seven of Cups. So again, there's not really a lot of thinking about the divine or what's spiritual. There's sort of an obsession with getting what one wants and like how to get it and that sort of a thing. So there's kind of, in a sense, a lack of spirituality here. Now, what's interesting is that the High Priestess, which is generally one of the more spiritually aware cards, is in the 10th house of actions and public life. And so maybe this is the face that you're putting on, so to speak. You may be putting on this persona for other people to see, but in reality, you're sort of being tempted by the things of the world. I don't know, just kind of the general vibe I get. It reminds me of a lot of people who don't really admit to their own struggles and just pretend to be like holier than thou. Don't be holier than thou, please. But I think more positively too, the High Priestess in the 10th could just show sort of career opportunities that will be built more on wisdom or the discovery of wisdom. Certainly, if anything, taking care of your responsibilities, 10th house, right? And then 7 here in the second, will help you to kind of reconnect with that inner spark of truth, the Ace of Wands, since these are in aspect and whatnot. But yeah, the priestess is sort of a strange card to have in the 10th, because the 10th is really all about work, and the priestess is more about retreat and silent communion with the inner world. So that may be getting sort of swept aside here this month as well. And it may also, the magician aspecting it may also be contributing to that, trying too much to control things instead of allowing wisdom to just speak and kind of give you the answers that you need to complete your tasks and so on, and to get your life on track this month or whatever. Opposite here, we have the Queen of Wands in the 7th house. So whoever this person is, a strong woman figure and whatnot, or a person who is kind of hoarding power of some kind, hoarding energy of some kind, and not really doing anything with it just yet. They're having a similar sort of predicament to you. Do I help out, or do I go and celebrate? But in their case, in a sense, moving forward would actually maybe be for them celebrating and taking a break from things like work and whatnot, and being too alone, Queen of Pentacles aspecting. Whereas they may be a person who's always trying to save everyone else, always trying to be the champion and that sort of thing. So your partner, if you're in a partnership, marriage partnership, relationship, whatever, is clearly also kind of a bit confused and befuddled and that sort of thing about what path to take. So quite interesting that theme is being repeated, although it's sort of reversed, It's like they should go play instead of working so hard, and you should go work harder instead of playing so much, if that makes sense. And in your case too, there's just a lot of illusion about who you are. You may think you're this great, powerful magus or wonderful, holier than thou person, but the cards are revealing that you are you're having your own internal struggles and whatnot with it. Even here too, we have this kind of sense of like, what do I do? Like, how do I make things work? Things aren't actually really working that well. And we also have like a large degree of loneliness here with the Queen of Pentacles in the 5th, in terms of your creative self-expression. You're not really sure what to do with all the things you have and have accumulated and so on. So there's sort of a bit of a theme of like looking at yourself in the mirror, taking like a good hard look at yourself in the mirror, and being honest that maybe you're not exactly what you thought you were, and that you need to actually embody the emperor instead of just don the mask or the crown. You need to embody that energy more and be more responsible. Again, we have, the 8th house here is echoing the 12th house as showing for you that just kind of having fun and sort of dicking around or whatever is a waste of energy. It's causing you to waste your energy and neglect the more important things in your life right now. That's really a big theme for you this month. So I really suggest taking a close look at that. We've got 2 7s aspecting each other, right? This is the 4th house, this is the 9th house, and they're coming together. It's very interesting. We actually have 3 7s here, I just noticed. Yeah, so 7 is like a really a major theme. And 7 is all about responsibility and mature action initiated from one's call to destiny rather than one's mere desires and so on. So with these two coming together, perhaps what you're really battling is this kind of lust for worldly powers and attainments. Those could be the things that this figure is actually battling against. Your peace of mind is being disturbed by this kind of stuff. 6 influencing is actually very helpful. The more you help people or attend to the needs of whatever's around you, the more you may be able to actually phase out this kind of inner conflict, but in a positive way. Like this will soothe and assuage it, so to speak. Just a thought, but the magician aspecting is kind of the influence of, again, trying to manipulate things to your own advantage too much. So I would be very careful with that. Your hopes and dreams here in the 11th are kind of a bit arrested by this 2 card. There's maybe a certain amount of pessimism happening for you, or stagnancy, or that sort of a thing. Again, there's just a big theme here of work versus escapism. And that's really what I'm getting. And, I could keep reading the cards individually or not, but I feel like this spread is just sort of showing me what is very quickly. And I don't really have too much more to say about it. It's kind of like, take a good hard look at yourself and see who you really are, and admit your faults, and figure out what it is you really need to do. On some level, you're not going to be satisfied with just, whittling away your energies by just escaping into having fun or manipulating things to your own advantage. On the other hand, you're definitely not going to be totally satisfied with just working really, really hard and whatnot. You need that Ace of Wands. It's like the Emperor needs the Ace of Wands. He needs to remember his scepter, which just represents his willpower, the spark of creativity, and so on, passion, purpose. And I guess if there's a way you can do that, which may also be something your partner can help you with here if you're in a relationship, or some other person can help you with that Queen aspect. And that's a very supportive aspect. But then the High Priestess and the 2 of Swords is not very supportive. So this Ace of Wands thing is somehow locked away in your daily life. And I'm kind of getting the vibe too that like gardening could be really cleansing for you mentally and emotionally for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm just kind of getting that vibe. And I think that, you need to kind of like allow yourself the room to be reborn, or for your inner flame to be rekindled this month. So whatever you need to do to allow that to happen, please go do it, because it's unlikely to really happen on its own. The spark needs to be sort of cultivated, or given the necessary room to breathe, the necessary air, and the necessary fuel to turn into a fully fledged fire. And that is kind of the best metaphor I can use to describe it. I think that does it. Again, inactivity is a theme here. So you need to watch against inactivity, but you also need to watch and make sure when you act, you're not just fighting, you're not just reacting as a form of acting. You need to find out how to actually act conscientiously. And I think that's why you have the 2 of Swords in the Ascendant, because that's really, at the end of the day, what you're contemplating. Where is the middle path? So maybe studying some Buddhist texts like the Dhammapada might help you this month too. I don't know. But, have a great month, and I hope everything becomes more clear after watching this. Please hit like, subscribe, share this around if it was helpful for you, and visit my website for individualized readings and more. Okay, guys, peace out.